and good morning. It's been quite the morning already. Wait and see. Have a few people come over. I know Earl's daughter was in the other room. YouTube has been making it nearly impossible to do this. I'm going to have to get on. Hi, everybody. Looks like some people are making it here. Sorry about the confusion. See, if I, which I always try to do, I put up a show reminder, and then it lets you create that, and then it won't let you go live on that particular show. So I have to just go to the webcam and create another show and then delete the other one. It's just crazy. They took out Google Hangouts, which worked really well, and they've got this. I think they're just making it harder for people to live stream. But I'll get around to it. I'll download some encoding software, and we'll get back to where we can have guests. I talked to Howie, but he isn't going to be on with us this morning. Things are just rolling really quick this morning, and the update, and I don't know if any of you saw it. It's on our Twitter page. Let me just say hi to everybody over here. Okay, sure. But Rusty Shackelford, and if you haven't subscribed to that channel, please do. Mark Connor's show is here. Yeah, I heard he's selling his house for a trust or something. I don't know what's going on there. So anyway, the update, and I posted it on Twitter. I'm not sure if I got it on here, but hey, Borori, yeah, I didn't expect to be back so soon, but this is some pretty exciting stuff going on, so I wanted to update you guys. So the first thing was, and if you haven't subscribed to Rusty Shackelford on YouTube, please do, because he's posting live drones, not live drones, but drone footage of Epstein Island. He's been doing this for weeks. And that's where I got the ambulance heads up for the first place. And so anyway, a couple days ago, he posted new footage, and I noticed the ambulance was gone. So that was kind of odd. And they moved it. It had been going back and forth from those buildings from one to the other, parked on the roof. And then I thought, well, maybe it's in those, there's some large buildings that look like they're used to store vehicles. And what Rusty did was he put the drone right down and looked in those buildings, and it's not in those buildings. And as far as I know, there is no other place to keep that thing. So it's possibly been removed from the island. I passed that information along to the Virgin Islands source that I'm dealing with, who is still in touch and thanked me for it. And then this morning, our breaking news department, my wife noticed that another an FBI raid video had been found. And it's not just the FBI, because we examined it, and go look at it. It's on there. You can see there's NYPD people there. There's FBI people. So that's the task force. That's the corruption task force of the Southern District of New York. That is maybe as we speak. I'm not sure, because he doesn't. There's not a running timestamp on his videos, which is okay. But it seems like they're happening, as he says they are in time. But yeah, it clearly shows FBI agents, and it's pretty hilarious that this drone is buzzing them as they're doing the raid. And I've got to think that if the FBI wanted that drone out of there, it would be out of there in a second. But it's just, it shows the raid, it shows them going in and out of the house, shows them inside the house. So I don't think Rusty Shackelford is an FBI agent, but I'm pretty sure that yeah. So yeah, it could be yesterday. Thank you, Mark Connors show. Boy, that Mark Connors is all over everything. Well, that Mark Connors, not the Mark Connors. So yeah, so this happened yesterday, and I guess I missed it last night. Been a lot, as you know, a lot going on, but this is big news, and I forwarded it to the government source, and yeah, the raid was yesterday. Okay, so still breaking news. I didn't hear anything about it on Twitter or any of the news sources. I also sent that to the Miami Herald, Julie Brown. I said, because she's been very disinterested in the ambulance and the corruption aspect of what's going on in the Virgin Islands. I haven't gotten any responses to her, so I sent her a link to the FBI raid, and I said maybe they'll find the ambulance, Julie. So I think she'll appreciate the sarcasm, and I'm really disappointed, really, in her for not. I'm sure she's busy, but I think this is a big story, and that's what we were talking about yesterday. The story was never Epstein. It was the corruption. Yeah. And it's the Epstein story is the people he raped and his part in the conspiracy, but he's a pimp. I mean, that's what he was. He was a serial pedophile, but he functioned as a pimp for the rich and famous, Bill Clinton, Alan Dershowitz, Marvin Minsky, all Harvard people. So if you're on Twitter, check out. See a cat back there. Yep. Who is that? Twink. You're on TV. So yeah, so good. My question, for the FBI and the task force is what took them so long. But I'm hoping that, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That is the only story. The survivors, and they need justice, and according to the U.S. attorney, I mean, he is pursuing that. That's why they added the conspiracy count, because they were going to add these other co-conspirators in, the other rapists, and by co-conspirators, I mean the other people that raped these children. So, yeah, this case is by no means dead. Maybe Epstein's death kicked it up a notch, because there they are, they're raiding the island. That, in my opinion, that could have and should have taken place a long time ago. But the thing is, there's always electronic footprints. So and if there's any evidence of evidence being destroyed, all those people that we were seeing on those videos that were milling around doing all the work, will be held accountable. So it's good, and I'm just dying to know where the ambulance went to, and I'm also, I take heart that the official at the health department in the Virgin Islands is still communicating. She's the only one. The reporters aren't communicating. Conspiracy that was charged with. Yeah, absolutely. Beyond my purview. Excellent. We're we're like this. And because Epstein, it doesn't matter. And what we were trying to tell people the other day, and we hope you tell them and get that information out, is it doesn't matter if Epstein was murdered, committed suicide, all people are just wasting time. It was like 9/11. You saw buildings that were obvious, demolitions, and then people broke into groups about who did it, why they did it, where it went. Just eyes on the prize, eyes on the target. The target is the witnesses didn't die. The witnesses allowed the indictments to be made. And now, since he is gone, I think the indictment process is kicking into high gear to indict people like Alan Dershowitz and Bill Clinton and anybody that Virginia Roberts, and I believe Virginia Roberts, read those depositions. There's thousands of pages. I've gotten through 400 or 500 of them, but it's all in there, and that poor woman has been put through. And I think there's other deposition material from all the other victims that have come forward. But none of these creeps could stand up to the cross-examination that these victims were put through, which is just disgusting. But that's the evidence, and I would imagine that the indictment, they were witnesses in obtaining the indictment. So the witnesses are there, and believe me, I think that the DOJ got a huge black eye from Epstein. And they're, it seems like they're playing catch up, but they're serious, and so Just keep getting that information. Don't get bogged down in the whole who killed Epstein. You know, is he dead? You know, is this his ear or not his ear? I mean, that's just more attempts to distract you from what's important. If you want to do something, get that deposition information. Tweet at Alan Dershowitz. Tweet at Bill Clinton. You know, with that information. That's sworn testimony under oath. You know, so that is evidence. Those are facts. You know, and that deal with the facts and put them forward. Ask about the ambulance. You know, how did that get there? You know, and believe me, I'm going to be following that investigation too, because I think it was that was the point I was making with Julie Brown. Is, you know, it's very important. You know, it doesn't matter what it was used for. You know, the fact that it was there and it was operating illegally, and it got into the country illegally, and it was licensed illegally, and that it didn't appear on the FDA sex offender registry where all his other vehicles are listed, you know, that shows some sort of corruption, or at least gross negligence, you know. So storm the Clinton state. That's right. They can't get us on. Let's see. It doesn't matter if he was broken out of the server. I mean, there. Well, you know, I just think the speculation just doesn't matter, you know, and there's nothing we can, if that's the case, there's nothing we can do about that, but we can hold the Justice Department to account for the survivors, you know, and that same testimony that indicted Epstein can indict Clinton, it can indict Dershowitz, it can indict Andrew, Prince Andrew, anybody that, you know, raped these children. So that's what we're concentrating on. All the rest of it is just, yeah, if the Bureau of Prisons facilitated his murder or suicide, yeah, those people should be prosecuted. You know, but that's an outside issue. You know, that's over. You know, that's been done. The only point is he is not a defendant anymore. So we concentrate on getting the information out there that's been made public, that is already sworn testimony, you know. And if you're on Twitter, tweet right at these people. You know, that's what it's there for. It's not there for, you know, tweets about are those Epstein's ears or not. You know, you have information, read it. You know, it's tedious, you know, but there's a lot of you know, great information in there that implicates and is evidence against some very, you know, the people who ran Epstein. It wasn't, you know, Epstein was the low guy. He was the pimp. He was the guy that was going to be sacrificed. So, you know, we knew what was going to happen to him one way or another, you know, but, you know, the whole, and that's what I took up with Julie Brown. Epstein is not the story. He's a story. He's an important story. He needs to be in prison for his serial crimes against children. But who allowed that to happen? How can you have an island and a ranch in New Mexico and a mansion in New York City, and you're raping these children in plain sight, bringing them in and out of a U.S. territory? I mean, that corruption, believe me, is there, and that's the story. Because if we don't take that down, they'll just plug somebody. There's a trust, you know, that will probably, I don't know if they can seize the trust that had Epstein's money in it, but you know, if that infrastructure of corruption isn't taken down, they'll just get a new fall guy. Somebody will do that job, you know. So yeah, Wexner, there are so many co-conspirators in this case. I mean, it literally could bring down governments. So no, I disagree, John. Epstein isn't the main story. You know, the main story is who facilitated Epstein. Who else hasn't been charged that was raping those children? Epstein's just a pimp. That's all he is. And you know, and they will, the good thing about the conspiracy, even if Epstein's dead, he will be convicted on those charges in one way or another, because the co-conspirators will be charged. And then once the conviction is obtained, and yeah, physically, you know, he won't do the time in prison, but if everybody else goes down, you know, that's a good outcome, you know, and he got, you know, what he deserved, you know, probably less than he deserved, but I would have liked to see him spend his life in you know, a really crappy federal prison. But, you know, we're not in control of that. What we're in control of is where we go forward. Okay. And that is publicize the deposition information, tweet, call these people out, educate your neighbors. Let's see. The man who go over the information. I'm not sure what that means, but we have the information. You have it. You are journalists. You all are journalists. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook, if you're on here, you can get that information. You can make the phone calls that I made. You can call the Virgin Islands EMS department. You can call the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. You can call the Department of Justice or the FBI. You know, that's where I was going to confirm or deny that Epstein Island had been raided or seized, you know. And I asked Julie Brown that. She didn't know. That was a really important question that nobody really was asking. So now we know. It's if those pictures are to be believed, and they look very believable, you know, it's happening. And you know, and it doesn't, and again, it doesn't matter if he's dead or not. The point is he's not a defendant in that case. So now, and I think that this is a good thing, wherever he is, they have to turn up the heat on the co-defendants, the co-conspirators. They need to indict these people and fast. Maybe that's why this raid is taking so fast, you know, taking place so quickly after his death. So, you know, and it's our job as citizens of this country to keep the pressure on the Justice Department to indict the people that raped those children. And we know from sworn testimony that that's Alan Dershowitz, that's Bill Clinton, that's Prince Andrew, and many others, you know. So that's our job. That's our job. So I think that's the information. And then, you know, we rely on you. This information is crowdsourced, you know, do your own investigation, you know, pick out something that interests you and, you know, call some people, call the newspapers in the Virgin Islands have been silent. Yeah. Well, and that's true, John, but the names are blazed into the memories of the witnesses. Okay. And we need to get those witnesses into a protective environment and get those indictments, get them before the grand jury. All these women that have already come forward, the ones that are coming forward right now, because if we don't take out that infrastructure, they'll just stick a new guy in there and they'll do it all over again. So I think this is very, you know, and there's electronic fingerprints. We don't know what they can get, what they will get if they start. I'm sure anybody that was working out there, if they were participating in destruction of evidence, they'll be getting an FBI interview today. Hey, Karen, how are you? Yeah, absolutely. Beyond my purview. Yeah, I believe, you know, look at Dershowitz on Twitter, you know, the length that he's went to. He called Julie Brown a Nazi. He's you know, called these women prostitutes. I mean, he is spinning, you know. Yeah, John, the dead ones. Well, hopefully, you know, there'll be some evidence of that too. And as you know, the federal statute for child murder has been upped. So that's a good thing. So yeah, it just don't, and you are part of this. Don't waste your time on who and how Epstein died. It's how do we yeah, oh, NXIVM is connected, Hollywood is connected, Scientology, you know, we started this show about 3 years ago, and from the research I had already done, I told you, it's a big circle. That's a network, okay? And they're all connected. And this operated globally, and there are other pieces of that circle, but the pieces of the circle are all being filled in. And when it gets like this, and the real information gets out there, you know, you won't even believe it, because I'm not going to get into that today. But what these people have been doing to our children, you know, you won't even believe. So listen to the survivors. They are witnesses. Get them in front of grand juries. Indict the accused, and let's get the show on the road. So at least we know now. Epstein Island has been raided. I'm hoping it'll be under seizure, and they'll make some kind of announcement. Yeah, you had people on here on YouTube saying, "Oh, those are federal employees walking around there working. It's already been seized." I'm like, how do you know that? I said, they haven't said that. The only thing I heard about was the ranch in New Mexico. That was, I believe, searched, and I don't know if it's under seizure or not. But the DOJ needs to tell people that. We need to know that they're working on this, and I'm actually trying to get in touch with the PIO of the Southern District. Jason Goodman was talking to him the other day, and come on, do some press releases about this stuff. Let us know the progress you're making, because with what happened with Epstein, people are very worried and unhappy, and we need to reassure the victims that have yet to come forward that it's safe to do so. That's really, yeah. Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormon Church. I mean, this is huge. The Catholic Church. This is worldwide, global pedophilia, and it's all interrelated, and it's just one big circle that has been killing and damaging our children for decades. So it sounds to me like this is beginning. This is, what did Churchill say, the end of the beginning, maybe? So keep the pressure on. I have faith in humanity, not just you guys that watch the show, but humanity as a whole, and do it. Don't waste your time. You got social media, get out there, tag Bill Clinton, tag Alan Dershowitz, say, hey, what do you think about this deposition there, Alan? Oh, the FBI raided Little St. James. I hope you didn't leave your underwear over there. I use a little satire when I go after these people. I got suspended for that, but on Twitter. But yeah, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the show, share the show, get this information out there. You guys are not, Satanic Catholic Church. Absolutely. We've done shows on this, Howie and I, and for about a year before Trump got elected, we it was like we were barking at the moon. Nobody even cared. We weren't even on here. We were on a radio show, and we're doing all these lengthy, history lessons of, the Jesuits and the city of London and pedophilia, blackmail, and how it originated. So, and it was like we were barking at the moon. But I tell you what, when Trump got elected, something happened, and there's never been anything like this happening. And I truly believe if Hillary Clinton had been elected, Epstein would be in France right now, and children would still be going in and out of, that meat grinder and all the other ones. So stay on it. I'm a little bit at a disadvantage. The show's at a disadvantage right now because Google and YouTube have made it very hard to have guests or do screen shares or even, put a show out there in advance and then get the link to work. So, but we'll get around it. And as you know, we're pretty beat down with what's been going on with our animals. So we're trying to regroup, and but you guys help us with that. So stay on it. Subscribe to this channel, set your notifications, because it's irregular when we're going to be on here. I'll try to give you some notice. Howie couldn't be with us today, but he's aware of what's going on, and he's very happy. He's just, I think he had a long night at work. So, but yeah, we'll get the gang back together, as far as Howie and Kelly, and we just keep plugging forward and put all your energy into educating, getting the facts that are out there. It does no good to speculate. Forget about how Epstein died or where he is. Doesn't matter. He's not a defendant. The survivors are important. They're witnesses. Get them in front of grand juries. Get indictments. Get these guilty parties in jail. That's what's important. So we can do that. We can do that as a group, a nation. And that's what we need to be doing. There is no other story. There is nothing else that's important. You know, this is, if we don't get this stopped, we won't have a nation. This nation will disintegrate. And I think that's in the plan by some of these groups that are trying to run the world. So we're not going to let that happen. So love y'all. Stay in touch. I'm just going to bring it to an end. If you have, and it's not, that's the other thing. I used to be able to go through and see the live chat, and I can't do that anymore. So if you have questions, when the video is posted, post a comment, and I'll do the best I can to answer them. And, you know, subscribe to Rusty Shackelford, share that stuff, get it out there. That's paramount, John. Yes. Yeah. Cause he was a pimp. He was the low guy. He was the guy that was always intended to go to jail. You know, he was expendable. So, and they have everything. And I think with his death, that just kicked this in a high gear, and these other people are going to be indicted, and the Justice Department owes it to these witnesses and these survivors to keep them safe and reassure them that they can come forward and they can get justice. And the best way to do that is lock the accused up, you know, get them indicted and get them in jail. So stay in touch. I'll be in touch. You know, use your social media for a productive purpose, and that's getting facts out there, like the depositions, like the FBI raid. You know, tweet at Justice Department, tweet at FBI, tweet at Bill Clinton, at Alan Dershowitz, at the Duke of York. I don't know if you saw that the other day, but Twitter, you know, they put a news item up that, and they've got a picture thing. You're welcome, Karen. They've got a picture on there, this great picture of Prince Andrew walking in front of a helicopter. And the headline is that he's implicated in sexual harassment. You know, take a screenshot of that and tweet it at Jack at Twitter and ask them, why is he calling child rape sexual harassment? And by the way, the Duke of York allowed them to use that nifty photograph of him. So this is what we're up against. So, Anol, hey, how are you? How are you? Yeah, and it's happening, Anol. It's actually happening. And you're welcome, John. You're welcome, everybody. You guys are you know, you're how we do this, you know, because if we were, nobody was listening, it gets awful hard. It's hard to do with people listening. It's with nobody listening. It would probably be impossible. So I'm going to clean up the studio. You know, as you see, we're a little in disarray. We'll have some kind of better streaming software where we can share links and information and screenshots and have guests, but that's in the future. Yep. And that's true. The propaganda machine is humming. And so we're the counterbalance to that, you know, get factual, damaging information, like pages of that deposition, take screenshots, tweet them at Bill Clinton, you know, take pictures of you can steal our pictures off traffic report, you know, say, what do you think, Bill? They raided Little St. James. I hope they don't find any of your DNA out there. You know, get after these people. That's what social media is for. It's not for, you know, speculating about how or who ended Jeffrey Epstein's life, or if it's indeed ended. That's really not important. He's not a defendant. So let's move on and onward and upward. And thank you guys for all your support. You know, subscribe, share, set your notifications, you know, share this, because the more information, that's our only weapon against this is factual information. So yeah, that was a little coachy, pep talkish, but you know, that's what I do. I was a lieutenant on the fire department and a battalion chief. So I'm motivated, you know, and so I love you guys. Thank you. I'll be in touch. And like I said, any questions you have will be answered, but put them in the comments after the video is posted. Yeah, I'm shadow banned. Yeah, John, we're shadow banned, but you know, information still gets out there, you know, so don't give it up. All right. That's Tiffany Fitzhenry just emailed me. So we're going to get Tiffany on here hopefully soon. So I love you guys. We'll be in touch. keep at it. We're making progress. Don't let anybody convince you that progress is not being made, because it is. So we'll see you soon. God bless.